Good afternoon, dear participants, experts and organizers of the International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes 2.0. We are glad to see you online and would like to invite you to join the amazing atmosphere of partnership based on mutual respect and understanding and discuss public diplomacy. My name is Diana Kovela. I am from Russia.
My name is Akil Mohammed. I am from India. International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes 2.0, is being held for the second time. Last year, more than 50 participants come to Ulyanovsk and created joint events. Today, our central studio is located in Ulyanovsk, and we have more than 50 participants online with us on Zoom conference.
So, during the next 5 days, the young leaders from Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa and other countries will have interesting work to do.
Today we have scheduled 3 thematic sessions, a plenary session, an expert session and a case session. We will listen to heads of public diplomacy organizations as well as young leaders who are successfully implementing their projects.
We would like to emphasize that today the whole world is in the midst of global crisis. There is a lot of tension, and we kindly ask you not to raise or discuss any geopolitical issues.
We focus on youth potential, initiatives, and strengthening relationships among BRICS young leaders.
Dear participants, let us start the second International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes 2.0. Our first session is Youth Policy in the implementation of public diplomacy, new challenges and horizons of cooperation. We remind you that now we are in the Ulyanovsk region. You are welcomed by the governor of the Ulyanovsk region, Alexey Russkih.
Добрый день, дорогие друзья! Я рад приветствовать вас на втором международном молодежном форуме общественной дипломатии InterYes. Хочу с гордостью подчеркнуть, что в это непростое и напряженное время мы собрали молодежь Бразилии, России, Индии, Китая, Южноафриканской Республики и других стран-партнеров для диалога во имя укрепления международного сотрудничества. Объединение БРИКС поистине уникальный многосторонний формат, яркий образец сетевой дипломатии. Молодежная общественная дипломатия – это прекрасный инструмент развития международного взаимодействия. Она направлена на укрепление стратегического потенциала путем вовлечения молодежи. Сегодня нам, россиянам, особенно молодым людям, важен диалог с другими странами. Именно молодому поколению разных стран и континентов в будущем важно сотрудничать ради процветания и благополучия. Молодые и целеустремленные лидеры, вам предстоит рассказать о себе, своей стране, выстроить диалог и развивать налаженные связи. Я горд, что молодежь Ульяновской области нацелена на серьезные отношения с зарубежными коллегами и некоммерческими организациями. Не сомневаюсь, что те проекты, которые родятся после форумной работы, будут не просто реализованы, а станут показательным примером партнерства, обмена опытом и укрепления взаимодействия между народами в современном мире. Желаю вам плодотворной работы, новых друзей и осуществления задуманных планов.
Thank you, Alexey Yurievich. And we now give the floor to the second secretary of the BRICS office at the Foreign Policy Planning Department, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia, Vladimir Poluektov.
Greetings of the day, dear colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All good? Yeah. So let me first and foremost express my profound gratitude to the organizers of the InterYes International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy. Thank you so much for having me here. We meet today at a time when post-COVID-19 recovery is far beyond limits of one's imagination, and the attempts of certain countries to impose the so-called rules-based world order, especially in connection with events in Ukraine. The deteriorating international environment manifests in the collective West-led willingness to undermine existing multilateral institutions and fora, draw new divisive lines through spreading fake news, waging hybrid wars, imposing unilateral restrictive measures, canceling sovereign countries and even cultures. As a beacon of hope in these dark times of artificially created chaos and turmoil, here comes BRICS, a unique format of cooperation that presents a striking example of cultivating partnership relations among countries with their unique culture and traditions, history, natural landscapes, and priceless civilizational legacy. We see BRICS as an important tool of contributing to the global stability, a golden standard of multilateral cooperation, which is built on respect and due consideration of interests and concerns of its participants. Principles upon which BRICS is based are respect for state sovereignty, rule of international law, absence of hidden agenda. They are universal and are concerned to all countries. It is the right basis for an equitable and efficient state-to-state dialogue. This is the cornerstone of fair and democratic world order. This is when we can see BRICS becoming a custodian of the genuine multilateralism, one of the pillars of the renewed global architecture of multilateral cooperation. Over the past 15 years, BRICS has come a long way from being an informal platform for sharing views on topical issues on the international agenda to a mature network of multifaceted cooperation, a true strategic partnership which covers most areas of interstate cooperation, policy and security, economy and finance, cultural and humanitarian contacts. BRICS is also open to cooperation with the world, with developing countries in their integration mechanisms. The expansions of circle of external BRICS partnerships, primarily through BRICS Plus and outreach dialogue, is a testament to openness and willingness to share the benefits of collective work with others on a voluntary and mutually beneficial basis. Coming back to the reason of today's inaugural session, the 5 working days of the second edition of InterYes Forum will comprise of several sessions on topics that echo some of the priorities of the Chinese BRICS chairship in 2022 under the motto Foster High Quality BRICS Partnership, usher in a new era for global development. Let me reiterate that Russia highly values a substantive and keen approach of our Chinese colleagues to strengthen B5 cooperation on the basis of the principles of continuity and implementation of BRICS summit decisions. We are pleased to provide every possible assistance and support in this regard. The P2P pillar of our cooperation, including youth contacts, embodies the vitality of BRICS concept, or as we call it, the Big Five or the B5 format. Its growing attractiveness to the representatives of civil society and youth organizations of our countries, laying solid foundation to friendship and mutual understanding among our peoples and our nations. BRICS events calendar usually sees an annual youth ministerial meetings, youth summits, including Youth Energy Summit and International Energy Saving Festival, Young Diplomats and Young Scientists forums. The Ulyanovsk region has become a cradle of BRICS International Youth Camp and the Youth Volunteer Movement. Russia hosted the first International Youth Volunteer Conference, BRICS2 on 25th and 26th of March, which gathered more than 50 participants from BRICS countries. We also have such wonderful programs as annual International Academic Educational Program, BRICS School, which is very popular among BRICS youngsters. We can also see great interest of B5 youth representatives in various BRICS awards and grant programs like BRICS Solutions Awards and BRICS Scientist Innovator Prize. I'm sure that the Chinese BRICS chairship this year will host a number of events on P2P track as well. In conclusion, let me once again reiterate my gratitude to the organizers of the forum. I'm sure that your endeavor will contribute to strengthening ever-growing BRICS strategic partnership and encouraging more and more representatives from civil society and youth, especially in the BRICS process. Wishing you all very best and every success. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Vladimir. I would like to mention that we have already more than 100 participants online with us. The organizers of the International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes 2.0, are the Russia BRICS Project Office for International Youth Cooperation, the Foundation of Creative Technologies, Ulyanovsk, the capital of culture, and the Federal Agency on Youth Affairs. With great pleasure, we give the floor to the Head of International Activities, Department of Youth Projects and Programs of the Federal Agency on Youth Affairs, Valeria Chernogorodova. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Akil. Warm greetings from Moscow, young diplomats. I am honored to speak in front of such a well-prepared and proactive audience. I represent the Federal Agency for Youth Affairs of Russia, which is the chief executive body responsible for implementing youth policy in our country. Every year, we implement a broad range of projects and programs in the sphere of volunteering, civic education, sustainable development, entrepreneurship, and many others. We are especially glad to support youth-led initiatives aimed at promoting public diplomacy and strengthening international cooperation between the youth of Russia and other countries, especially, but not limited to BRICS states. As my colleagues have already mentioned, we are now opening the second edition of the InterYes Forum. The first one took place last year in Ulyanovsk region, and I am very glad to say that it resulted in a few very successful youth projects that are being implemented now by Akil also. And it is very important for us to give young people the opportunity to act and offer your own solutions to the existing challenges rather than impose our own vision of how things should be done. And that is exactly the main goal of this forum, to connect you to the team of active youth, to show you the available resources and help you formulate your ideas into a particular project. Like, for example, grant competitions, which we held, and we are telling you about all those tools and sources of support. And the rest fully depends on you. I wish you a successful and productive event, and let it end up with more projects, ideas, long-term professional and friendly ties, and of course, positive emotions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valeria. Let us read out the welcoming address of the head of the Federal Agency for the Commonwealth of Independent States, compatriots living abroad and international humanitarian cooperation, Evgeny Primakov.
I'm glad to welcome the organizers and participants of the International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes 2.0. Public diplomacy is an excellent field for realizing the potential of young people. We have always been especially progressive and initiative. It is these young people who in the next 5 to 10 years will be making important decisions for their countries, including the field of international cooperation. I am confident that the forum will contribute to the establishment of long-term contacts between the young leaders of BRICS Plus countries, as well as the discussion of joint projects with the Russian partners in various fields. I wish the participants fruitful work and success. Evgeny Primakov.
Thank you, Akil. The partner of InterYes 2.0 is the regional public organization BRICS World of Traditions. We give the floor to the head of the organization, Lyudmila Sikacheva.
Дорогие молодые коллеги, единомышленники, друзья, от всей души приветствую вас и поздравляю с участием в этом полезном форуме. Такие нравственные понятия, как дружба, доброта, доверие, согласие между нашими народами – это надежные кирпичики, которые мы вместе с вами закладываем в нравственный фундамент здания пятерки, без чего невозможно выстроить цивилизованные отношения ни в одной сфере взаимодействия. Ибо, по словам великого русского писателя и философа Льва Толстого, не может того быть, чтобы здание было в порядке, когда основание, на котором оно стоит, в расстройстве. И сделать это основание более надежным миссия общественной дипломатии БРИКС, форпоста добрых дел и идей. Коллеги, успешное пятистороннее взаимодействие активной молодежи стран БРИКС для реализации многосторонних проектов под руководством молодых креативных лидеров доказывает то, что вы обладаете стремлением, талантом и силами для формирования и осуществления практического трека молодежной общественной дипломатии. И здесь вашим девизом могут стать мудрые слова великого Махатмы Ганди: «Унция практики дороже тонны проповедей». Но более положительный практический результат вашего многостороннего сотрудничества вы сможете получить, когда объединитесь в такую мощную, единую молодежную структуру, как Союз молодежи БРИКС, что поднимет статус молодых бриксологов, обеспечит сбалансированную, правильно выстроенную координацию совместной деятельности и формирование единой базы молодежных организаций БРИКС, что обеспечит вам разработку и реализацию пятисторонних проектов. Уверена, что вы уже задумывались об этом, друзья. Союз молодежи БРИКС станет единой коммуникативной площадкой, на которой вы будете постоянно встречаться и взаимодействовать в гибридном формате и других, и не только от форума к форуму и от конференции к конференции. Союз молодежи станет основным центром вашего притяжения для практической реализации ваших целей и задач. Впервые данная инициатива прозвучала 6 апреля 2022 года на пленарном заседании лаборатории молодежных проектов БРИКС, прошедшей на площадке МГИМО, и была поддержана участниками встречи. По словам Конфуция, человек, добивающийся успеха, это тот, кто остается преданным идее и, несмотря на обстоятельства, движется к своей цели. Коллеги, вы выбрали вашу цель и правильный вектор вашего движения к ней, объединенный совместным желанием, развиваясь самим, укреплять многостороннее сотрудничество пятерки, а значит издание нашего общего дома БРИКС. Друзья, успеха всем нам на этом непростом, но очень важном пути. Двигаемся только вместе и только вперед, под звуки своего гимна молодежи БРИКС, которые мы напишем сами. Успеха вам, дорогие друзья!
Thank you, Lyudmila Leonidovna. We continue the plenary session. Our next speaker is Valeria Gorbacheva, Director for Relations with State and Public Organizations of the BRICS National Research Committee. Valeria, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear participants and guests, dear friends, on behalf of the Russian National Committee on BRICS Research, let me cordially welcome participants of the International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy InterYes 2.0. Special gratitude to organizers for inviting us for the second time. They have made a great job by facilitating this platform for young leaders who are eager to learn more about BRICS, to develop public diplomacy and people-to-people contacts in our countries despite the pandemic restrictions and hard international agenda. Over the last couple of years, the world has become even more insecure and unpredictable, with national egoisms often prevailing over common sense and human well-being, rising turbulence and rivalries dominating the international agenda. Multifaceted crises affect each and every sphere of countries' development and citizens' lives. In such conditions, BRICS countries offer an example of mutual respect, commitment to multilateral cooperation, effective, de-ideologized global governance without hegemonic ambitions. The 5 countries thus could be regarded as civilizational and cultural linchpins in their respective regions and an example to follow to promote peaceful, fair, and sustainable development. While there are considerable differences between our countries and current transformations of the international system add to those divergences, the 5 states continue cooperation in the spirit of transparency, friendship, and mutual respect. The BRICS do not seek to undermine the current global governance system, but rather wish to reform it so that the benefits of globalization occur for the common good. A number of processes and formats have gained firm ground and contributed into the formation of the true BRICS entity. This process continues and solidifies BRICS activities and voice internationally and within the 5 countries. Nevertheless, in order to sustain progress achieved so far, BRICS should increase attention to the social and humanitarian aspects of the 5 countries. The focus on youth and increased people-to-people exchanges are welcomed. However, civil society calls on BRICS leaders to examine the underlying conditions that prevent youth from accessing opportunities and to ensure that opportunities are accessible to all. Of the 7 billion people in the world, approximately 51% of the population is under the age of 30. With the size of the populations in the BRICS countries, there are over 720 million people between the ages of 10 and 24 in the BRICS countries. Despite this, there is a significant lack of participation of the youth in actual decision-making process around the world. Your task to change this. It is gratifying that this forum has a full program, even with remote participation, which covers the widest range of topics on cooperation. I'm confident that its results will enable the exchange of useful experience and will strengthen inter-BRICS solidarity. I wish you fruitful work and all the best.
Very, very interesting information. Thank you very much, Valeria. Our next speaker is an active organizer of public diplomacy events, the head of non-government organization Creative Diplomacy, Dr. Natalia Burlinova. Natalia, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes, the floor is yours.
Hello, dear participants. Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Natalia.
Good. Thank you very much for having invited me to this wonderful event. You can see a space landscape behind me, and this is not a coincidence. Maybe you know that tomorrow Russia celebrates a very, very important holiday in its holiday calendar, the Cosmonautics Day, the day when the first cosmonauts started a new era, an era of space. And this was not only the huge event for the Soviet Union at that time, this was a huge event for the humanity in general. The new epoch started. So I'm glad that your event coincides with this holiday, which we celebrate in Russia, because cooperation between young people and youth track is a very, very important dimension of the public diplomacy in general. And it is always about future young leaders, future professionals, future politicians, future journalists, experts, technical professionals. So it is always about future, and space is about future as well. What can we say? We can say, me as a person who is involved in public diplomacy for the last 10 years, I can say that last 2 years were very, very challenging for public diplomacy in general. And well, the last year is extremely challenging as well. But what I witness is that there are regions, there are countries, there are people who still want to cooperate despite of all political and geopolitical changes and challenges. And this is the best solution for the future, because you may stop cooperation. You may say, that is all, I'm not going to speak with you, I'm not going to contact with you anymore, I'm not going just to be your partner or colleague. But what is the result of such saying stop? The result would be zero. It is always better to talk, it is always better to build good professional relations, and for the future, for the sake of the future of all countries and organizations and peoples. So I'm very glad that BRICS and BRICS Plus format still is on, because it is so crucial when young people talk, when they start talking from the very early age of their professional career, because these years of their young age give them opportunity to understand better, to understand each other better, and to understand the necessities of their countries, the problems of their countries, and to build this new path of cooperation in a very positive way, with the positive examples of cooperation. So I wish you good luck. I really hope that our cooperation inside BRICS and with the BRICS Plus format gives and opens for all the participants new opportunities. I understand that Russia now turns much more to the partners of BRICS, to the partners in Asia region, in Africa, in Latin America, in those regions where traditionally the Soviet Union and modern Russia has a lot of friends, not only partners, but a lot of friends. So I would like to finish my short statement with the words of the first cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin, who said, "Let's go." So I wish you, let's go in your event today.
Thank you, Natalia. In 2022, China chairs the BRICS Alliance, and now we are happy to give the floor to Chen Jie, who represents the School of Literature and Journalism of Hunan First Normal University. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great honor to participate in this forum. My name is Chen Ge. I'm a Chinese language teacher from Hunan First Normal University in China, where Mao Zedong, the founding father of People's Republic of China, studied and worked for as long as 8 years. As sister regions, Hunan and Ulyanovsk has conducted exchanges and collaborations on a frequent basis. Actually, I once worked at Ulyanovsk State Pedagogical University from 2019 to 2020 and taught courses in Chinese language and Chinese culture. Since I went back to China, I have been providing Chinese classes for the students of ULSPU online. It reminds me of the time I spent in Ulyanovsk. I miss its snow in winter and its wind in summer on the Volga River. HNFNU and ULSPU have been engaged in productive collaborative programs since 2016, greatly enhancing the understanding and friendship between the youth of the two universities and the two countries. Recent years have witnessed the booming exchanges and cooperation between China and Russia under the framework of the China-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Coordination for a New Era. Not only do we deem it necessary, but we also have confidence in envisioning and planning international exchanges and cooperation. In the post, Hunan First Normal University is known as the Millennial Academy and the Centennial Pedagogical University. Aware that language and culture are the basis of communication, our university has been committed to promoting the development of Chinese language and culture education in Ulyanovsk, and is willing to provide help for friends who are interested in learning Chinese language and culture. Meanwhile, we welcome teachers and students from BRICS countries to visit our university. We also look forward to closer cooperation with more schools and universities in Russia and other BRICS countries across a broader spectrum of fields. Sorry. Dear friends, I hope we can meet soon, face to face, in the bright spring of Hunan and in the colorful autumn of Ulyanovsk. Only by living in the culture, you can feel the heart of it. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Chen Ge. In 2023, South Africa will chair the BRICS. We give the floor to the founder and executive chairman of the South African BRICS Youth Association, SEBIA, Raymond Matlala. Raymond, can you hear us?
Yes.
Raymond?
Thank you very much, Diana, and thank you very much, Akil. I'm very honored and excited to be here and also to see familiar faces, friends, and also associates and dear participants. Let me start by appreciating and welcoming the participants, all the participants from all the BRICS countries for participating in this session. And also let me take this opportunity to, relay my sincere gratitude to the Russia BRICS Project Office for putting together Act 2 or 2.0 of the InterYes conference. Let me also congratulate the organizers for putting it in such a short period of time and under certain circumstances, of course. Serbia is based in South Africa, and its mission is to ensure that we collaborate with other BRICS countries, strengthen relationships and linkages and friendship and networks. And what we've just been doing is now we have introduced bilaterals with all the BRICS countries. We've had one with China last month. This month we have one with Brazil. Next month we have one with India, and our dear friends from Russia, it will be in June. And we are then going to then strengthen the multilateral of BRICS, because what we've realized is that we just keep getting into this multifora and we speak, but we kind of don't get the gist of the pragmatic issues that we have to deal with on our bilateral levels. That's why we introduced these bilaterals within Serbia to engage with other BRICS countries, particularly young people. We also going to talk about, as Diana has said, we're going to look into how do we start planning for the South African presidency of BRICS for 2023. And there we want to bring everyone who wants to be involved, both in the BRICS countries as well as in South Africa, through our partners. I just want to say we have a very strong partnerships with the Russia BRICS office. In that matter, we've even signed a 3-year MOU that we are going to collaborate in such activities. And we're going to bring everyone who wants to get involved in youth areas of BRICS. I also want to say, let me take this opportunity to wish the participants a great interactions, network, make new friends, expand your networks, expand your friendships. And also I'm looking forward to reading at the end of this conference your recommendations that are practical that we can take and use as the BRICS youth, taking it to our BRICS leaders. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Raymond. Dear participants, the plenary session of our forum is over. We thank all the speakers for the important and interesting information.
Yes, Akil, we hope so. Dear participants, the next part of the forum is the expert session, Grant Support for Youth Initiatives. And now we're going to have a break, about half an hour.
See you in 30 minutes. Hello again, dear friends. It is 10 past 3 in Moscow, 20 minutes to 6 in India, 10 past 9 morning in Brazil, 10 past 8 evening in China, 10 past 2 in South Africa. We are now in Ulyanovsk, in the Russian city, where the Russia Breaks Project office for International is located.
We continue the International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes 2.0. As you know, there are a large number of organizations in the world that financially support youth initiatives in the field of cultural and social cooperations, including the authorities, universities, foundations, and private companies.
On behalf of the Russia Breaks Project Office for International Youth Cooperation, I would like to say that there are several organizations in Russia that provide grant support to youth initiatives. Before you listen to the experts, I would like to remind you that you are welcome to ask any questions to the experts. Please write your questions in Zoom chat.
Our first speaker is Deputy Head of Federal Agency for the Commonwealth of Independent States Affairs, Compatriots Living Abroad, and International Humanitarian Cooperation, Russian House, Dmitry Polikanov. Dmitry Valerievich?
Thank you very much. Nice to see you all at our Zoom session. Yes, we have a very complicated name for our agency, and not everyone can even pronounce it properly. But the idea is that we actually work under the aegis of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and our goal is to promote Russian humanitarian cooperation, to promote Russian culture, Russian language, and in general the image of positive image of our country. We have a number of programs which I think can be interesting for the participants of your forum. So I will just name a few of them, and we'll try to give some kind of detailed information on how it works and how you can join these programs. Our flagship program is called New Generation, and this is a program aimed at people at the age of 25 to 35 from all over the world, who actually can come to Russia to get to know the work of some of our organizations. It can be media, it can be medical facilities, it can be education, or whatever, actually, or the work of Russian NGOs. And we bring them about 1,000 people every year to Russia through our Russian houses abroad. We have about 80, we have representative offices in about 80 countries. And actually, from time to time in their social media, on the pages on Facebook or Instagram, they make an announcement about this or that, this or that mission to Russia. In the last 2 years, we are focusing mainly on cooperation between professionals, between young professionals, and we focus on professional groups. So it's not a program for political scientists only or for researchers only, but it is also a program for people who are good in certain industries, right? Like last year, we brought to Russia the aerospace engineers, for instance, or the medical workers, doctors from a number of countries, or we supported the festival for the social movies, which is called LAMP, quite a famous international festival, which is every year held in Russia. And during this festival, we brought a group of young professionals in the area of cinema, and also representatives of a number of NGOs who have this kind of, film projects, for instance, to promote their activities. So Young Generation program is a good way to come to Russia, to learn something about the work of different companies and organizations, and also to them to bring this experience to your country and to maintain the connections with your partners. We also bring people under this program to major Russian forums, such as, for instance, St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, or the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, or the International Energy Weekends, and so on. So this is also a good chance if you wish to, I don't know, upgrade your professional level in certain sphere. You can come to this forum and to meet the experts in your field, and actually again to make connections, so probably to present your project and so on. So this is kind of our flagship program number one. Also, we provide support to the grant applications to various foundations in Russia. Not all of them work directly with the foreigners. However, if you find a Russian partner, you can always ask for money for an international project. So we have a special working group within our agency, which actually reviews all the applications for different foundations in Russia, and we provide our letters of support to the applications that we believe are useful for our goals, for the implementation of our objectives. Among the foundations that work with foreigners are the Russian World. So it has 2 contests every year, and they accept the applications from foreign NGOs to promote Russian language, Russian culture, Russian education, and various humanitarian projects. Also, we have the Gorchakov Foundation, which is more focused on researchers in the sphere of foreign policy and international relations. And then, by the way, we have a joint program with the Gorchakov Foundation and our Young Generation program. So we bring people for nearly a month to Russia, and they do research in the Russian leading research institutions, and they get mentorship from the Russian academicians, from the leading experts in the area of international relations and foreign policy. So the Gorchakov Foundation also accepts the applications from NGOs, but mostly with a focus on academic exchange and research and projects in the sphere of international relations. Besides, there are 2 large presidential funds in Russia. One of them is called the Fund of Presidential Grants, and another one is the Presidential Fund for Cultural Initiatives. Both of them support the projects of the Russian NGOs. However, if you find a partner among the Russian NGOs, you can apply for the project in your country. And this can be kind of cross-country initiative, which may get support from these foundations. Every year, they distribute billions of rubles on these projects. Also, we have a special program of support for the Russian compatriots abroad. So again, if you are willing to to make some projects related to Russia, you can somehow make a cooperation with the people who have Russian origin, or who were born in the Soviet Union, or somehow are connected to the organizations of the Russian compatriots abroad. And you can apply once a year, normally in spring, for the funding for your projects. Mostly we fund the events, so these are not like kind of like social projects, etc., etc. However, even with the events, you can achieve some sort of impact, definitely. So you can again merge your efforts, unite your efforts with the Russian compatriots abroad, and apply every spring for projects for next year. Our new initiative, which we are going to test in a pilot mode this year, is the system of micro grants, which are below $1,000, from $500 to $1,000. So we are going to start the contest of micro grants together with our partners, the Association of Volunteer Centers, probably later in spring. And we are going to fund 6 months projects in the countries of the former Soviet Union, or as some people call it, near abroad. So we hope that if in pilot mode it works well, then next year we can continue this project and expand it to other territories, notably the countries of Asia and Africa. Also, another project with the Association of Volunteer Centers is called the Mission of Kindness. The idea is that we bring volunteers from Russia to other countries to support the work of local NGOs. So our Russian houses abroad, they collect the information and the needs of these NGOs, and then they send us the requests for volunteers, and we here recruit these volunteers and send them out to other countries. Again, this project is so far mainly focused on the countries of the former Soviet Union. And last year, again, in the test mode, we sent people to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. This year, we're planning again to expand it to other countries of the former Soviet Union. This can be different projects. Some people go there to support the work of the, to help to teach people Russian language. Others come as environmental volunteers to do some, I don't know, environmental projects. Also, there was a request and we sent people to help with the work of NGOs that work with people with disabilities and so on and so forth. So again, if we see that this project is successful this year, we're going to expand it and also to invite foreign volunteers to come to Russia to help in the work of the Russian NGOs. Again, we believe that this project can be expanded quite well. Also, and this is kind of our key advantage probably, we have the offices, we have Russian houses abroad, and they're ready to provide the premises for various events related to Russia. So if you're willing to do an event in your country, you can always apply to the Russian house in your country, and they will help you with organizing this event in our office. Besides, again, one more direction and I'll finish my long monologue. Besides, we have now the program of supporting the establishment of the non-governmental Russian houses abroad. The idea is that we have, as I said, the official representatives with diplomatic status, etc., in about 80 countries across the world. But of course, this network is narrow because mostly our offices are located in the capital cities of different countries. We do not cover different regions. These offices, well, in some countries were not represented at all. Especially, for instance, in many countries of Africa or in some countries in Asia or in Latin America, etc. We try now to make some sort of franchise system and support people in opening up the non-governmental Russian houses. This is done by the associations of the Russian alumni abroad, by the organizations, again, of the Russian compatriots, by suggest some local NGOs and local businesses who are interested in promoting Russian culture, Russian language, and Russian education abroad. We have opened one house in China already, one house in Sudan. We are planning to open one house next week in Egypt. We also have a number of applications from different countries, notably in the Middle East and Africa, who are also willing to, and in Germany as well, and in some other European countries, who are ready to open their this kind of unofficial non-governmental Russian houses abroad. And finally, just to sum it up, our agency is responsible for the recruitment of people for studying in Russia. We have so-called government quarters, and every year their number is increased. This year, we plan to bring to Russia 23,000 students. Next year, it will be 30,000 students. So again, the application campaign starts normally in autumn already. So people collect their documents and then pass through some tests. And after that, they get a chance to study in Russia for free at the expense of the Russian government. This program includes not only bachelor programs, but also master programs. And even if you want to make postgraduate studies or somehow upgrade your skills, you can also apply for this program in your country. We have quotas for certain countries. Well, again, this is not a kind of fixed thing. Well, it is fixed, but actually we look at the situation, we're quite flexible in increasing the number of quotas for this or that country depending on the number of people who are willing to study in Russia. So you're welcome also to use this program of Россотрудничества and well, have a chance to study in the Russian Federation in the leading universities of our country.
Thank you. Thank you, Dmitry Valerievich, for your interesting and very useful information. Dear participants, I would like to tell you that my co-moderator, Akil Mohammed, is the winner of the grant competition of the Alexander Gorchakov Public Diplomacy Fund. Together with colleagues from the BRICS countries, he has implemented his idea of the BRICS Plus Forum, having received the financial support from the fund.
The floor is given to Sergei Orlov, lead specialist at the Alexander Gorchakov Public Diplomacy Fund. Floor is yours.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, yes, continue please.
Yes. Good afternoon, dear friends. I welcome you from Moscow. And on behalf of the Alexander Gorchakov Public Diplomacy Forum, I welcome you to the International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy InterYes. Okay, I'm glad to speak to you today and tell you a little about our foundation. Do you see the slides? Yes. Okay. In accordance with the decree of the President of Russia on February 2nd, 2010, and the main founder of the fund is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. The structure of our fund includes a board of trustees, a management board that consists of advisory board, academic board, and the executive director. Through their decisions, the fund conducts various activities and provides grants support. So the board of trustees includes outstanding Russian businessmen, government officials, and public figures. Our main directions of work are conducting our own events and providing grant support of non-governmental organizations. So we provide support to Russian and foreign non-profit organizations and research centers of foreign policy orientation for the implementation of projects corresponding to the statutory goals of the fund in the form of grants. We hold events aimed at supporting the sphere of public diplomacy, improving the foreign policy image of Russia abroad. And we have a line of our own events, which are held on an annual basis in various foreign policy and thematic areas. For example, the most important and the big event is the Balkan Dialogue that we this year planning to held in Greece. There are some other events. I want to tell you more about our grant support. So we provide grant support for the implementation of initiatives like Russian and foreign NGOs and NPOs in the field of international relations and the media. The application for grant support are submitted twice a year. First grant window is open from January 15 to February 15, inclusive for the implementation of projects during the second half of the year. And the second grant window is from July 15 to August 15. And one organization has the right to submit no more than one application for a grant in each half year. And applications submitted outside the specific deadlines will not be accepted. In addition, we conduct training programs for beginning nonprofit organizations like Russian and in foreign countries. We invite the people from around the world to Moscow, and here give them some training specific for NGOs. In addition, on the sidelines of the International Youth Forum Eurasia Global, that will be held in Orenburg this year in June, we, in common with the Federal Agency for Youth Affairs, will hold a grand competition for foreign individuals, not NGOs, and within which the foreign participants can receive grant support up to 500,000 rubles. Also, we allow Russian scientists to participate in the international forums and conferences, and we have a possibility to send Russian scientists to participate in major conferences and events to broadcast the Russian view on certain events and problems of foreign policy. Every year, we carry our activities according to the priority areas of the fund, which is approved by our Board of Trustees. You can see the main directions of this year on your screens. So right now, we already closed the first grant window this year. We have received a lot of different projects, and this week, the April 15, we will name the winners of the first grant window. So that's all that I would tell you. If anyone has any additional questions, I will be happy to try to answer them. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sergey. Today, in addition to the BRICS countries, 6 more countries are present at our forum: Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Ghana, Kazakhstan, Indonesia, Nigeria.
11 countries, all young people who seek cooperation with Russian partners are our friends. And now we give floor to Valeria Chernogorodova, Head of the Department of International Activities of Youth Projects and Programs of the Federal Agency for Youth Affairs, Rosmolodezh.
Valeria, nice to meet you.
Yes, I was here. It's just your microphone was off. That's why we weren't able to hear.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Could you please turn on my slides? Okay, International Youth Cooperation. Greetings, dear colleagues, one more time. Let me remind you that I represent the Federal Agency of Russia. I've been reading through the comments. I've seen some questions regarding the International Volunteer Forum and other events. My main focus of the presentation will be our grant competition, but I will also tell you about some other opportunities rather than the grant competition. Next slide, please. As the agency, we cooperate with many countries, organizations, and blocks of countries. Last time I said that if your country is not on the list, you are more than welcome to approach me, and we will solve this issue and definitely come up with joint projects. So I would like to repeat my my appeal to you to connect with me and to develop new ideas. Next slide, please. Here you can see a few points, a few ways in which we as the agency can support you, because I believe that money is very important. Financial resources, infrastructural resources is very important, but you cannot reach far if you go alone. So a project, an initiative, an event is something more than money. Is a team, is connected with planning, with group work, with many factors. We are trying to assist you in a comprehensive manner. So the main tool and the main opportunity that we provide is forums, festivals, and conferences, like the International Volunteer Forum that was mentioned in the comments. These forums provide you with an opportunity to learn, to gain new skills, to practice soft skills, and what is more important, to get connected to the like-minded people, NGOs, build ties, learn from each other, and benefit from the experience of many people coming from many different parts of the globe. Well, the second thing that we can help you in is expertise. By expertise, I mean that we can come as experts to your events. We can connect you to Russian counterparts, with Russian NGOs, to recommend you some speakers on various topics such as volunteering, entrepreneurship, and many others, depending on your request. One more thing is that we would love to, we are open for requests in terms of informational support. So if you need many Russian youth to know about, to get Russian youth to know about your projects or programs, we are ready to spread information and help you reach out to the Russian youth. One more thing is, and I think it's the last one, is the grant competition. I will expand more. Last but not least, let me come back to one point, is international prizes and awards. So we have quite a few of them for people from different spheres. A good example is the international prize, which is called We Are Together. We launched it in 2020. Last year, we awarded it for the first time to both Russian and foreign citizens for a huge contribution to fighting the corona pandemic. This year, we are also planning to launch this award. The track for Russian citizens has already been opened. We are now thinking about, we are now waiting for the approval to launch the international track. So hopefully we will be able to inform you soon about the details on the international track. Next one. Here are a few events that we are going to hold very soon. For your attention, I will ask the organizing team to share this presentation with you. And I call on you to read more about all these events and apply for the upcoming forums, festivals, etc. The main one is the International Youth Forum Eurasia Global. Next slide, please. It will take place very soon in June, on June the 8th until the 14th. We are going to look at two sustainable development goals. We are going to explore more on how you can gain professional experience, on build the career path, etc. Next one. So here are the eligibility requirements. We are waiting for young people from all over the world, aged 18 to 35 years old. The registration campaign is carried through our informational system. I will share the links. And the application deadline is April the 18th, so very soon. Again, pay attention. There are many opportunities at this forum, and do apply. Next slide, please. So yes, here are the application deadlines. Once again, April the 18th is coming very, very soon. there is no so much time left. So please keep this date in mind. And next slide, please. The last one. When it comes to our grant competition, we face a lot of questions because the problem here, not the problem, but the limitation is that we as the governmental institution, we can only give grants to Russian citizens. But nevertheless, you can form international teams if you find a Russian counterpart at one of the forums that I have already mentioned, or online, or if you already have the existing contacts with representatives with some Russian counterparts. You can form a team and this person can apply. No one can prevent you from participating in this project. So you can see there are also various types of grant competitions for NGOs, for universities, but they all should be Russian and the grant should be carried out in Russia. But again, if you want to participate, no one will prevent you from doing so. And one of the grant competition will be held within the Eurasia Global Forum, which I have already mentioned. So feel free to apply, and I hope to see you soon in Russia at one of our events. Thank you for listening. I will scroll down the comments in the comment section, and I will reply to all your questions if there are some questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Valeria. I hope your information will be very useful for future projects creation of our participants. So let me introduce you Deputy Executive Director of the Ruski Mir Foundation, Sergey Shurygin. Sergey Vasilievich, please turn on your microphone, please. Yes.
Good afternoon to everybody.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Russian Mir Foundation, or Ruski Mir, as we call it. And I'm now trying to switch on my presentation. Let me see. Okay. Do you see it? The Ruski Mir Foundation was established on the 21st of June 2007 by the special decree of Vladimir Putin, the Russian president. Its constituents are the Ministry for Foreign Affairs and the Ministry for Education of the Russian Federation. The Ruski Foundation is one of the largest non-profit and non-governmental organizations. In accordance with the charter of the foundation, its main objective is to promote Russian language and culture, to support programs for studying Russian both in the Russian Federation and abroad. Supports the programs related to promotion of the Russian historical heritage and the modern culture. The special audience of the foundation are the native people of different foreign countries, as well as the Russian compatriots all over the world. The Ruski Mir Foundation has a high authority both in Russia and abroad. More than 5,000 organizations in many countries of the world are its partners. The foundation carries out its own foreign activities with a network of the Russian centers and the Russian world offices, which are formed as at foreign universities, libraries, cultural centers to study Russian language, culture, history, and whatsoever. 113 Russian centers and 127 offices operated in more than 50 countries by the end of 2021. Also, the foundation forms and supports scientific, expert, educational, and cultural channels for the development of bilateral relations with organizations of foreign countries and international organizations that meet the goals of the Ruski Mir Foundation. According to its charter, the foundation provides grants and donations to Russian and foreign organizations to implement projects which are aimed at achieving the goals of the foundation. We supported more than 20 grants applications in 2021. It should be noted here that grants provided by the Ruski Mir Foundation twice a year are specifically targeted financial funds given free of charge on a competitive basis to organizations and institutions with mandatory provision for the foundation of a report on the target expenses of the grant. The target, so-called target expenses of the grant is the main keyword here, because a grant must be spent only in accordance with a certain list of projects. Now we'll have a look at this list. There are two groups of projects supported by the Ruski Mir Foundation. Projects to promote the Russian language and cultural and humanitarian projects. The first group, projects to promote the Russian language. The subject of projects is as follows. Russian language training in educational institutions abroad. Professional development and retraining of teachers. Designing modern educational and methodological Russian courses, textbooks, teaching aids, and other publications to help students and teachers. Development of multimedia educational resources and distance learning systems for Russian language and literature. Methodological and other support for Russian schools abroad. Whatever. Hosting and holding conferences, roundtables, festivals, and other similar events aimed at popularization of Russian language and literature. Also conducting competitions in Russian language and literature, popularization of Russian language and literature through mass media channels, including social networks. And the second group of projects are cultural and humanitarian ones. They are holding forums, conferences, and similar events, production and promotion of Russian language mass media and other information resources, carrying out a set of measures aimed at preserving historical memory, preparation and holding of exhibitions, album releases, creation video content about the Russian world and its outstanding representatives, holding festivals, holidays, competitions, performance skills such as Russian romance, bard song, and so on. And at last, implementation of other cultural and humanitarian events dedicated to Russian culture in the context of world culture. And the last thing that should be mentioned here is the criteria for evaluating projects participating in the grant program of the Ruski Mir Foundation. This is another important thing here, because if you take into consideration also criteria, it helps much to create competitive and attractive projects. The criteria is as follows. The project compliance with the goals and objectives of the ideas of the Russian world. That is, think how a project will affect positive changes in the promotion of Russian language. The second one is contemporary relevance of the project. Then the social significance of it. The realism and validity of achieving the project plans. So have a good plan. Number 5, novelty and originality of the project ideas. Because that makes your project compatible. Number 6, the ratio of the planned costs for the implementation of the project and its expected result. It means that good results for lower costs. Number 7, the wide geography of the project. More people and more countries attracted, the higher status of the project. Number 9, experience and competences of the project team is rather important, because further development of the project is also important. And the last one is information openness of the organization. Coverage of the organization's events in the media and also in social networks. Let's say you have identified the Ruski Mir Foundation for yourself as a grants providing resources for your projects. And I'm strongly convinced that some of you will participate in this program. So to do this, you have to study the necessary information on the internet page ruskimir.ru. About the main activities of the foundation, look at several annual reports for previous years. Also look into the chart of the foundation. All this information can be found at the grants and other sections of the ruskimir.ru internet page. You will also find there a list of documents required to be filled in, including electronic grant application that can be downloaded, filled out, saved, and sent electronically to the foundation. There is a subsection which is called projects, where you can get acquainted with the names of projects recently received by the foundation from applicants and get an idea of their genre diversity. You can also find there the basic principles of preparing a report on the use of this grant. More and more useful information about the grant program activities of the foundation can be found at www.ruskimir.ru page. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I am ready to answer.
Thank you, Sergey Vasilievich. Your information was very informative for our participants. And now I would like to give the floor to trainer on intercultural communication, founder and head of the International Friendship Club, Lyubov Savalieva. She will be the lead trainer of our future workshop, which will be starting tomorrow.
Everyone.
Lyubov.
Hello, everyone. Do you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you see my presentation? So, dear participants of the second International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes. It's my great pleasure to share my experience with you.
Your presentation is not visible.
Now, I guess you see. So today I'm going to talk about 4 key aspects of getting the support for your youth project. Well, let's start with the first question. It will be, what is the International Youth Project on Intercultural Dialogue and Public Diplomacy? We'll learn some tips of project development. We'll find out about project support and project implementation. Let's start with the first question. During the first session today, all the experts have already explained the definition of public diplomacy, and now I only want to notice that it is a whole system of dialogue with foreign audience. So if you're going to create your own project on public diplomacy, you must be ready to intercultural dialogue, which can be defined as an open and respectful exchange of views between individuals and groups belonging to different cultures that leads to a deep understanding of the other's global perception. Intercultural youth work is a way of working with people from culturally diverse backgrounds. It sees cultural diversity as an enriching aspect of society. And it also acknowledges the reality of racism and the need to create conditions where social harmony is promoted and supported. And to be able to organize international youth events, you or your team should be aware of some standards of quality to follow. There are some useful resources that can be used by you before, during, and even after your activity. For example, this grid you can see on the screen. It's just a part of the whole grid, and its full version can be found on the website that you can see on the screen as well, or you can follow this QR code. So there are 15 criteria divided in the 3 main phases of an activity: preparation, implementation, and follow-up. And each criteria has between 2 and 7 indicators that you can follow to create the program of your own international youth project if you want to be successful during the implementation and during your application process to any grant that I will mention a little bit later. So the grid will give you a picture of the way in which you approach intercultural dialogue in your activities. So it highlights the aspects that are your strong points. And this tool will definitely help you to develop a high quality youth event and get a support. During our 4-day workshop, we'll learn a little bit more about these standards and about intercultural competence and other tools. So how to develop a project, I'm not going to tell you today lots about this phase, but after you improve your intercultural competence, you can develop a project, and I would recommend to start with the research. Find a skilled project team, create a program, find out about the budget you need and resources you have, apply for any grant, and then implement and finally evaluate your project. When I talk about research, I mean that it's crucial to find out some society issues and target group requests that exist in our society, and it will help you to make the projects that are relevant and understand if it's topical or not. So when you have an idea, a team, and a plan, it's time to think of some support, and you can choose a project team that is comfortable working with. Then you can find some support, and you should decide what resources, your own resources you have, I mean time and energy you are ready to spend on this project. And if you are skilled enough and you have the list of contacts, you can use it for your project. Then you can find some sponsors that can provide you for public relations or volunteers, or even give you an opportunity to organize your project in any space for free. And finally, you can find experts that can provide you for methodology and give their speeches for free as well. So you don't need lots of budget to cover these costs. And for sure, you can apply for a grant. Last year, we have created a final booklet as a result of our first forum, InterYes, where you can find a detailed information about some grant organizations that you can apply for support. And you can find it by following the QR code that you can see on the screen as well. And during our 4-day workshop, we'll learn lots about other opportunities that you can find to support your youth initiatives on creative industries, culture, volunteering, entrepreneurship, etc. And after you have found the support, you can implement your project. Don't forget about some key aspects, key tips that you should pay attention to. Try to prepare call for papers, think about application process, write lots of invitation letters, etc. And don't forget about letters of support from some partner organizations that can help you to gain extra points when you apply for a grant. And in the end of your project, don't forget about evaluation and assessment, and try to answer the question, what influence your project had? Did you achieve all the goals? And what are the results that are topical today? And if your project is a unique tool for our young people from different countries. Try to assess yourself with help of those indicators I mentioned in the beginning of my speech. I only want to stress that it's a good idea to evaluate it both with participants and with your project team and all the stakeholders that were involved in your project implementation. I hope our forum can become a useful platform to learn a little bit more about international youth work, intercultural dialogue and public diplomacy, to create brilliant ideas and provide others for your assistance in the future, create intercultural teams here during our forum InterYes to find partner organizations for your future projects and implement them to become a real community and change makers in your local areas, in your countries. So I hope we'll cover all of your expectations during our 4-day workshop, next 4 days. And thank you for your attention today. See you tomorrow. Keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Lyubov. So, participants, now it's the time for your questions. We have several questions in our Zoom chat. Akhil?
Yeah. So, first question we have for Dmitry Polikanov. The question is, the students got degree in Corona pandemic, will they get employed? The question is more relevant to Education Ministry, but if you could comment on this.
Dmitry Valerievich? Could you answer this question?
Yeah, many of the students studied online, unfortunately, due to the COVID crisis, but however, they will have valid diplomas, and actually most of them have had a chance to pass the exams. Of course, there are some difficulties with people, for instance, who study some medical professions, because they need real practice, But anyhow, I think the Russian universities do their best to make sure that people get appropriate degree, despite all these limitations that we had in the last 2 years.
Thank you. And the next question is also to Dmitry Polikanov. Dmitry Valeryevich, how to come and study in Russia? If I'm interested in, I'm South African student.
Well, actually, to study in Russia, you can. Well, there is a special website that is called Education in Russia. This is the portal that we use to get the applications and to collect all the documents from people who would like to study in the Russian Federation. Normally, the deadline for submitting the documents, I think it's September, and then they are revised by our specialists, by the Ministry of Education as well, and you may have to pass a few tests, and then, well, the decision will be taken. Normally, people can choose up to 6 universities where they would like to study, and then, depending on their skills and on their qualifications, the university decide whom of the applicants they can take. They can accept to study in the university. But you can also contact our representative. We don't have a special Russian house in South Africa, but we have a representative for Сотрудничество who works in the Russian embassy, and I think he'll be glad to answer your questions concerning the education in Russia.
Thank you. Thank you, Dmitry Valeryevich. Another question?
Now, next question we have for Sergey Shurigin. The question: where we can find these language programs in our country? I'm from Brazil.
Well, it's a good question. Let me think. As far as I know, we don't run now Russian courses in Brazil, but it would be interesting for us to start this event if the community or a group of people will apply to the Ruski Mir Foundation with this request. Let's change our addresses and be in touch. This is my proposal.
Okay, please write your emails in our Zoom chat, please, and continue to communicate.
So we are short of time, and now I would suggest that the next session we could start. The next session will be power of interaction, and now it's a break of 10 minutes, and see you after 10 minutes.
See you later. Dear participants, we hope you still are full of energy. Show us your emotion, please, if your video is turned on. Hello again. Ahead of us is another interesting and important part of the forum, the case session Power of Interaction, where the youth of the BRICS countries will talk about their implemented projects and tell us if it's easy or difficult to come up with ideas of youth projects and implement them. During the speeches, you can write your questions in the Zoom chat.
Our first speaker, Kira Ivanova, coordinator of the Russia BRICS Project Office for International Youth Cooperation. Kira, floor is yours.
Thank you, Akil. So good afternoon, dear friends. I'm glad to see you all at this forum. So our Russia BRICS Project Office for International Youth Cooperation was founded by the Federal Agency for Youth Affairs. It is based in Ulyanovsk, Russia. In September 2020, we started, and since then, different projects designed to support and improve cross-cultural ties between young people from the BRICS countries are being conducted by our team. So let me tell you a little about our major events and the priority plans for the future. Its goal is to unite the efforts of federal and regional government bodies, public organizations, the student community, in order to support the systematic interaction of youth and youth organizations in Russia and the BRICS countries. Right after the launch, the educational course for the active members of the project office was held. In 2020 and 2021, we took part in different partnership events for cooperation with the BRICS countries as participants and experts. The information on our future events may be useful to you, dear participants, so I advise you to maybe write down something, the ones that will seem interesting to you. So as you know, 2020 was the year of Russia's BRICS chairmanship. Russia held lots of BRICS events that year, and so at the end of November 2020, we hosted the 6th International Youth BRICS Summit and the meeting of youth ministers, where 90 participants from the BRICS countries living in Russia discussed the current situation and opportunities for the development of youth cooperation between the BRICS countries in a wide range of areas. In April 2021, we had a very nice experience of InterYes, the International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, which we conducted offline in Ulyanovsk. 80 participants from 9 countries of the world attended expert sessions, pitch sessions, a 4-day workshop on public diplomacy projects, 9 educational sessions devoted to intercultural dialogue, project management, and resource provision of the projects were held as well. The participants developed 6 projects on public diplomacy for subsequent implementation under the guidance of certified mentors. In July, the first meeting of the alumni of the NGO Creative Diplomacy Public Diplomacy Program Meeting Russia, 42 young foreign leaders from 16 countries of the world, was held in Ulyanovsk as well. This program acquaints foreign participants with modern Russia, and this was the first time it was held in not in Moscow, or in order to show the participants smaller towns, smaller cities, and acquaint them with the political and cultural structure of the Russian regions. In May, we are going to hold it again, but for this time with a focus at the BRICS countries. In September, we had our first International BRICS Youth Camp, and we plan to hold it this August as well. About 150 young leaders from the BRICS countries shared their knowledge, experience, and learned new things about business, creative industries, and volunteering during 3 shifts. The purpose of the camp is to promote the further development of practice-oriented cooperation between youth leaders and organizations of the BRICS countries. In October, our project office organized the International BRICS Plus Case Conference of UNESCO Global Geoparks. Its major subject was the main directions of work on the preservation and popularization of the geological heritage of geoparks. The event has become a platform for the exchange of successful experience among expert practitioners in the field of creating and developing geoparks in Russia and the world. All in all, more than 50 representatives of 12 UNESCO global geoparks took part in this event. On the 5th of November, in framework of the third International Municipal BRICS Forum, we organized BRICS Youth Diplomacy Session, What Does Generation Z Choose? On the 10th and 11th of November, we held the 7th Russian-Chinese Youth Forum Volga-Yanze, where about 300 Russian and Chinese students and university teachers participated. Sessions were held on science and innovation, education, youth entrepreneurship, tourism, culture, and art. The International Youth Forum BRICS Plus was held in an online format in December. Akil Mohammed, our moderator, an active member of the Russia BRICS Project Office, will tell you about his implemented idea in the case session today a bit later. At the end of March, we held the International Youth Volunteer Conference BRICS to You, which was held in a very friendly atmosphere. Its goal was to unite active young people of the BRICS Plus countries who are interested in volunteering, to increase the level of their volunteer skills and understanding of the main cultural characteristics of the BRICS countries. As a result, more than 50 young people from 9 countries of the world joined the international volunteer community. And now I would like to tell you about our plans for the nearest future. This is actually our InterYes 2.0 forum. From the 25th to 30th of April, we are planning to hold the International Art Residency of Creative Industries in the hybrid format. Representatives of various creative industries, fashion, graphic design, theater, cinema and animation, music, IT, graffiti, exhibitions, presentations of fashion shows, master classes, will be invited from BRICS Plus countries to conduct master classes and present their products. The purpose of the project is to promote implementation of international youth creative projects and cultural exchange. From May till August, in case of winning the grant competition, we plan to hold the international project of BRICS Youth Self-Identification BRICS Code. It is a cultural and educational project dedicated to the theme ornament as an ethnographic code of the nation in the BRICS countries. The participants from the BRICS countries will select traditional ornaments of their countries, systematize them, present the history of origin, the specifics of the outlines and semantic roots. A mobile and online exhibition representing the national historical ornaments of the BRICS countries will be created as the result. The main purpose of the project is preservation and promotion of the cultural heritage of the BRICS countries. In July, again in case of winning the grant competition, the Creative Cooperation Program UNESCO Creative Cities of the BRICS countries are together begins its work online. The program will consist of online meetings of representatives of creative professions who live in the UNESCO Creative Cities of the BRICS countries. As you may know, Ulyanovsk was the first city to join the UNESCO Creative Cities network in 2015 as the city of literature. And there are 34 UNESCO creative cities in the BRICS countries now, so this would be a really interesting cooperation. So in September, the International Diplomatic Forum Intervolga 2022 will take place in Ulyanovsk. More than 150 specialists from 20 countries of the world, including representatives of federal authorities, subjects of Russia, Russian foreign institutions, leading Russian and foreign universities, representatives of the Foreign Diplomatic Corps, and specialists in the field of international relations will take part in this event. The forum will discuss issues of diplomacy and the practice of international activities in various spheres of life: business, science, education, culture, and sports. In addition to that, we are going to take part in the events of our partners. We also practice social nets, live broadcasts with active young leaders from the BRICS countries, and we've already had such dialogues with Xiaomei Li from China, Mohammed Akil from India, and Tumisang Victoria Maheso from South Africa. And we are now ready for the next interlocutors who would like to share their experience in international youth cooperation. So each of you are very welcome to contact us, follow us on Vkontakte and Telegram, and share your ideas on youth cooperation, because your ideas can really become the basis for the new joint projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kira. And now my co-moderator, Akil Mohammed, will turn into a speaker and tell you about his experience in implementing his project with a multinational team. Akil Mohammed, founder and chairman of the International Youth Edu-Skills Fund, president of the Association of Asian Students, Ruden University, vice president of RPO BRICS World of Traditions, deputy president for Asia of the Association of Foreign Students in Russia. Please.
Thank you, Gianna. Can we have the slide? Of first International Youth Forum on Public Diplomacy, InterYes, which held last year. But before that, I would like to introduce you with International Youth Edu-Skills Foundation, ISF. You can visit our website www.iyesf.com. The organization was founded in 2018 with an aim to improve education and skills among youth people and to contribute in the achievement of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. What we do, our main activities include act as an information partner and provide young people with an opportunity to participate in international events, organize social projects to improve education and skills among young people, organize act of kindness, organize training, seminar, conferences, competitions, etc. Now I would like to tell you to go to our website, isf.com. If you will go to our website and click on the section News and Opportunities, you will find many information about various events which are taking place in BRICS countries or are concerned with BRICS, or especially taking place in Russia. If you go on internet and try to find important events which are relevant to BRICS countries or happening in Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, you won't be able to find many events. And that's why we started to do this. This is one of the initiatives which we want, which is to improve cooperation in media sphere. This is information exchange, and you should get benefits of it. Now let me share about the experience which I had from InterYes to BRICS Plus. The event which was held last year, InterYes, I came here as a participant with an idea to organize a forum BRICS Plus, but it was an idea. When I arrived Ulyanovsk, I had a chance and opportunity to meet with many young people having different ideas, proposals, and they were all excited. InterYes gave me a wonderful opportunity. This opportunity was utilized to make an international team. It was the first step which helped us to form a project. During many workshops and team building activities, we identified our interest, and we were able to form an international team, which included me from India, Salawat, Ekaterina and Andrei from Russia, Zhang He, Zhang Li, and from China, Melissa Kos from Serbia. That's how an international team for BRICS Plus was formed. Then main task was to convert this idea into a project. Experts and coaches of the InterYes guided us on different aspects of the project, ideas, and they prepared us for pitch sessions of this project in a perfect way that the project could be implemented. We discussed in our team idea, identified key directions, expected results, expenses which will be occurring on us, and we divided responsibilities among the team. We analyzed what are what kind of resources we have and how we can start. Then with a brainstorming, we were able to actually came up with the project on paper, and the project was presented in the jury. We were so influenced and encouraged from InterYes that we wanted to realize our project. So we decided to give an application for the grant competition of Public Diplomacy Fund named after Alexander Gorchakov, which take place every year during Eurasia Global Forum in Orenburg City. I would suggest you to apply for this forum. You might not have the opportunity to apply for grant competition now, but next year you will have this opportunity, and for now you can apply for the forum to have an experience. This experience will be very beneficial for you. I would also like to mention that the grant competition which is organized by Alexander Gorchakov Foundation during Eurasia Global is the only option where individuals can apply and foreigners could receive grants. This is how, when we defended our project during Eurasia Global, we won the grant competition, and we were ready to implement our dream project. Then time came to realize our project. The main starting was to announce the project. We launched a website, announced the forum on different platforms to get more participants. Applications were analyzed by our team members, our experts. We had applications from more than 33 countries. Communication with participants, speakers is a very important part, and we were in contact with them through emails, through Telegram channels, social media, and all the information was conveyed to speakers, participants, and media agencies on time. This is very necessary because when you are going to implement your projects, you have to take care of all these parts. Partnership is very important, and the process of partnership starts right now. When we were at the stage of project development BRICS Plus Forum, we started partnership from here. We asked the Russia BRICS Project Office for support, and they agreed. I can definitely assure you that you will have the same, you can accept the same kind of support from Project Office. They will be ready to provide you information support. They will be ready to provide you speakers and help you in realizing your project. You can expect the same. Then during 14th to 15th of December, we organized our International Youth Forum BRICS Plus, which had more than 200 participants online. More than 40 experts took part. These experts included government representatives, there were experts, there were speakers from different fields. The main idea of the BRICS Plus Forum was to unite youth leaders, public organizations, youth activists, scholars, scientists, entrepreneurs, and students from BRICS countries and from other countries as well. The main idea was to provide better understanding and knowledge of BRICS and develop future cooperation in the field of culture, academics, youth, sports, business, creative industries. The forum, which was to create a positive image of BRICS among the youth from different countries, it became a platform to develop partnerships at youth level, expand more information about BRICS countries. It united people from BRICS and BRICS Plus nations on the single platform to discuss different kinds of projects. Participants were able to create their own ideas and projects. More than 16 projects, which were the most interesting projects, were presented to experts for their advice and support in realization. It is important that we had many projects, but we divided the participants into different groups, and they discussed all their ideas, projects. They took information from others and changed or edited their idea so that it could be presented for the experts. I am happy to tell you that some of the projects which were presented during the forum, like BRICS Lab, Youth Biz, IDME Academy, these all projects have already been implemented. Youth Biz has organized several conferences already to unite young entrepreneurs to work with Russia. IDME Academy had started and organized two to three projects which connects, which is to improve intercultural communication. And I'm sure all the other projects which were presented at the time will be realized soon. Now it is your turn. You will get inspired from InterYes 2.0. You will develop your own projects, and these projects will be implemented. And if you think that you need any kind of guidance, support from organizers, you feel free to approach them, and they will be happy to help you. Also, if you need any kind of assistance or guidance from me, here are my contacts, and you can contact me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Akil. Very interesting presentation. And now I would like to give the floor to Zhang He, the president of the Association for Youth Exchanges between China and Russia. He represents Russian-Chinese cooperation at the Union of Chinese Students in Russia. Zhang He.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Zhang He.
Okay. Wait a minute. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak at this forum. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zhang He, one of the initiators of the Chinese-Russian Youth Forum. Today, I would like to introduce my project, Chinese-Russia Youth Forum. The project is supported by the Gorchakov Fund. From organizers, this is my partner, Shonikova Maria, is from Russia. I'm from China, yeah. We are international team, yeah. It's very interesting. When I first took part in InterYes, I know about intercultural community communication, and I have many different from different countries friends. So I found my international partnership. Yeah. This is Eurasia Global 2021. We won the competition. Our project's goals is creation of our platform for interaction of young people from Russia and China with each other, as well as with representatives of business, authorities, and state institutions. Identification and coverage of the main areas of cooperation between Russia and China, as well as assistance in the inclusion of young citizens from Russia and China in projects in these areas, assistance in unlocking the potential of the use of Russia and China in obtaining knowledge and skills for self-realization and creating projects in the interests of economic, scientific, civil, culture, cooperation between the two countries. Tasks adversary methodological expert support of cases and initiatives successfully formed the way within the framework of the project. Formation of social elevators and many mechanisms of interaction of young people from Russia and China with representatives of business and government or their realtors, state institutions to participate in shaping the agenda of the future, creating a unified information space for from participants. Formed the main part of the events is held in an online format in a favorable epidemiologic situation on offline. Part is planted in Moscow. Target audience participants of the project, but young people aged 1835 who live or stay in Russia and China. Listeners all interested person without age restrictions who have registered on the formed website. Stage of a project implementation. First, preparation, media coverage of the form, collection and sorting of applications for participation in the project part, providing a task for the case part, start of the acceleration program, formation of the agenda of round tables within the framework of the announced tracks and tasks and invitation of speakers. Second, opening of the form, holding round tables and protect master classes on the declared tracks. Conducting a case championship, solving a real business problem, and statutely organizing networking between participants Summing up the result of the project part and accelerate selection of the winner, closing of the form. Third result, creating a database of the participants who have applied to participate in the form. Adaptation of the created information platform for the form into channels of informing opportunities for further use of brochure or channel. Implementation of initiatives selected within the framework of the accelerator. Coverage of the results of the form and announcement of the data of the next. Tasks of the conference part of the form. Economic, technology, and innovations, science and education, and digital space. Thank you for your listening. Thank you. This is my content details. Yeah.
From China, we are going to South Africa, and now I want to welcome Reon Wenger Merwo, Director of Stakeholder Relations at South African BRICS Young Youth Association, SABIA. Reon, are you here?
Thanks to everyone who's joining us today. If I can just quickly share my screen. All right, wait for the other participant. All right, thank you so much for having SABIA at today's forum. As Akil mentioned, my name is Reon Merwo. I am the Director for Stakeholder Relations with the South African BRICS Youth Association. If I could sum up the ethos of our organization in one sentence, it would be that we are trying to build a better BRICS for future generations. And so in this presentation, I hope to share some of our vision, our mission, and also the actions that we've taken to advance this. First off, in terms of our vision and our mission, we define this as to advance and promote global South cooperation and be a leading voice for youth within BRICS and multilateral platforms. Its mission, SABIA, is to provide South African youth with the opportunity to meaningfully participate in BRICS relations from an African perspective and create a network of young experts to tackle challenges in making the world a better place. So as you can see from this, our main focus is to provide an African perspective to BRICS and BRICS relations. We know that South Africa is often called the gateway to Africa within BRICS, and we want to uphold that and allow youth to benefit from that. Of course, our main area of work is the Global South, and not just BRICS alone. We work through BRICS, but we work for the benefit and the promotion of the entire Global South community of youth. Some of our thematic pillars that we work around include youth development, economy and development, ICTS and digital economy, food security, intra-BRICS trade, youth entrepreneurship, civil mobilization and participation, youth inclusion and advocacy, partnerships and collaboration, and international relations and cooperation. And I hope that through some of the projects that I'm going to be sharing with you, you will see these themes coming through. In the projects that we're currently running, we are not touching on all of these thematic areas. So I know that the participants of the InterYes forum will be developing some of their own projects. So I really encourage you to touch on some of these thematic areas because these are the ones that we've identified as having a very important role to play in the future of BRICS, and particularly those South Africans who are attending today's session. It's quite important for you to also reflect on these as they align with with our own participation within the BRICS group. On to some of the projects for 2022. I'm going to share some of the ongoing projects and then also some of the projects that are still coming up, which I hope that the participants will take note of, because we are always interested in building more partnerships and strengthening our relations with any organization or young person who is dedicated to building a better youth, a better BRICS for future generations. So the first set of projects that we are currently in the process of working through are our South Africa BRICS bilateral forums. So the bilateral forums are virtual forums hosted between youth leaders from South Africa and the full BRICS nations. As you can see here, the South Africa-China Youth Forum took place in March. We are currently in the process of planning the South Africa-Brazil Youth Forum. And if there are any Brazilians present, the applications for that will be opening within the next few days. After that, we will be hosting the South Africa-India Youth Forum in May. And then finally, we'll be ending with the South Africa-Russia Youth Forum in June. The important part of these forums is that they are not once-off events. Rather, they are meant to create a long-term platform to foster bilateral people-to-people ties and to create a common agenda between South African youth and youth from the 4 BRICS nations. So from these forums, we hope to gather youth groups, influential young leaders from these countries to join working groups that will then form the youth forum going forward. The youth forums will happen every year as bilateral platforms where each of these countries can engage with South Africa and South Africa's young leaders. And as you'll see in a moment, I've also noted on one of my slides that South Africa is going to be the chair of BRICS in 2023. So these bilateral forums are going to be a very important platform for youth leaders from both countries, from both South Africa and its partners within BRICS to plan and coordinate around the South African chairship. So I really do encourage our friends who are participating in the InterYes forum to take this to heart and to consider participating in these forums and also joining the working groups of these forums in the long run. The next project that I wanted to highlight to you is not a BRICS focused project. It's the Y20. Many of you will be familiar with the G20, and the G20 is accompanied by the Y20 every year. Each country selects delegates to be part of the Y20, each of the G20 countries. And of course, South Africa and all of the BRICS nations are members of G20, and so they're also members of Y20. And this is one of the reasons why we have prioritized this platform as one of the non-BRICS platforms where Sabia is making an impact. And so one of the ways that we're doing this is by expanding participation in the Y20 among South African youth. And we are also playing a key role in helping the Y20 delegates who have been selected to consult with youth stakeholders, both in South Africa and in the broader African region, because it's very much in our interest to have the position of South Africa and also other BRICS nations represented at a platform like the Y20. So as you can see, Sabia supports many different international multilateral platforms, and in this case, Y20 has been our focus. One of the reasons why Y20 has been so important to us is because in the next 3 years, all of the 3 presidencies of the G20 group and also the Y20 by extension will be BRICS member states. So in 2023, the presidency of the G20 will be hosted by India. In 2024, it will be hosted by Brazil, and in 2025, it will be hosted by South Africa. So this is a very important platform for us to continue to build networks in and to develop projects around. One of the areas where Sabia also focuses is to link up with many of the existing BRICS organizations in the BRICS universe. So as you know, BRICS does not have a central body or central headquarters like the UN or the African Union, but is a loosely affiliated network of organizations that focus on different areas. You might have today heard from the Universities Network of BRICS, which is one of the components of the BRICS universe. Of course, we also have the BRICS Business Council, which is an international platform for private sector actors from all 5 BRICS nations to engage. Sabia is currently part of the BRICS Business Council in South Africa, and we have deployed various youth who are experts in different private sector fields to the working groups of the BRICS Business Council. And so this allows us access to many interesting projects and many opportunities to work with the private sector in BRICS. And as you will note, when you develop your own projects, partnerships is very important. You saw in the previous presentation by our moderator today, Mr. Akil, the extensive list of partners that went into planning projects like the BRICS Plus and so forth, which Sabia was also a part of. So your partners are also very important. Another platform where Sabia is actively partnering with organizations to host projects is through the Civil BRICS Forum, which is of course the civil society branch of BRICS. And we were part of the Civil BRICS Forum in 2021 when it was hosted by India. And we are also part of the series of consultations being held by the Chinese stakeholders for the BRICS Civil Forum this year. And then, of course, next year, the Civil BRICS Forum will come to South Africa. And as a key coordinating partner, Sabia is directly involved in organizing that. So these are some interesting networks that Sabia involves itself in and that you should also consider as you are planning your projects. I'll now move on to some of the projects coming up in 2022 that we encourage participation in from all participants and youth from BRICS. In July, August, we'll be hosting the South African BRICS Winter School. Some of you might be familiar with the winter school or summer school concept. Currently, there is one active in Fudan University in China. The Russian National Research Committee for BRICS also hosts one every year. And so we would like to bring the winter school to South Africa. At this point, it's going to be hybrid, so there will be an online and an offline component. We are partnering with universities in South Africa to host this. And so once news of that goes public, we hope that you will consider applying for this, as it will be a very unique experience to see BRICS from a South African and African perspective. Later this year, we will also be hosting our Model BRICS conference. Some of you might be familiar with the idea of Model UN. So we are hoping to take that idea and apply it to BRICS to allow young people to experience what it would be like to represent youth, or to represent countries rather, within different platforms as youth. So we're going to be hosting that, and that's going to be very exciting. In September, October, we're also hosting the Africa BRICS Youth Summit. And so this is going to be a unique opportunity to bring African stakeholders, which is one of the largest regions in the world, Africa, to bring those stakeholders together with our BRICS partners and stakeholders, particularly youth organizations, to focus on a common agenda that we can use in 2023 as young people of BRICS. Because as I've already mentioned, and as the slide highlights, 2023 is going to be very important for South Africa as the president of BRICS. And so the Africa BRICS Youth Summit is going to be setting an African BRICS agenda for that year. And then finally, later in the year, we'll be having an International Youth Forum with various kinds of activities and masterclasses and exhibitions. And hopefully by that time, the COVID restrictions around the globe will have lightened and we won't have to deal with them anymore. Of course, they're for safety, but they do make international programs a bit more difficult. But hopefully by that time, we will be able to invite more of our colleagues and stakeholders within BRICS, but also within the Global South to participate in this forum. And then, of course, there will be much more to come in 2023 when we host the session from all of the different stakeholders in South Africa. So we really encourage participants to be mindful of the diverse range of projects you can do, and also the partners that you should consider in planning these projects. If you are interested in reaching out to Sabia and to partnering with us, please do reach out to me. My email is rion@sabia.org.za, and you can also CC in partnerships@sabia.org.za. I'll share this in the chat as well. I will also be sharing some of our social media handles. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, our website, www.sabia.org.za, and of course, we are on LinkedIn as well. So I thank you very much for your time and for the organizers for allowing Sabia to present, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your forum.
Thank you so much, dear Rion. Thank you. Dear participants, let me tell you about our official hashtag. Official hashtag of our forum is #InterYes. Please make your post in your social media and use #InterYes. Thank you in advance. So we have one more speaker. He is from Brazil, Valdir da Silva Bezerra, a research fellow at the Center for BRICS Studies at the University of São Paulo, GBRICS. Valdir, please turn your microphone on. Can you hear us? I think Valdir needs some time. Are you ready?
Hello, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
All right, so I will first of all start my presentation. My name is Valdir da Silva Bezerra. I am a member of the research group dedicated to BRICS from the University of São Paulo. And I will say thank you to the office for the invitation and for all of you who are following us at this afternoon. So let me share with you some of my screens at first. So I will be talking about the power of interaction and why it is important when it comes to unite the people from BRICS. And just very short about me, I am a master in international relations by St. Petersburg State University here in Russia, and I'm speaking with you from Russia, from this city, and also a member from the Center for BRICS Studies of the University of São Paulo. So the Center for BRICS Studies was created in the Faculty of Law of the University of São Paulo. It was founded in 2015 because the university witnessed an interest in BRICS by that time, and we had developed a group of studies that was exclusively dedicated to the matters related to BRICS development, to the BRICS inception, and also with BRICS perspectives for the future. This group is also registered in my country, in Brazil, under the National Council for Scientific and Technological Development. The Faculty of Law, as such, is one of the oldest in my city in São Paulo, one of the oldest law universities, and also one of the oldest universities of law in Brazil in general. So I will go very briefly through the projects and the interactions that we had with youth from other initiatives, other very important initiatives. And I would like to start with the BRICS Youth Energy Agency, which is a youth-driven agency that is located in Moscow and has connections with the Ministry of Energy of the Russian Federation. So in 2017, the Center for BRICS Studies of Brazil and the BRICS Youth Energy Agency signed a memorandum of cooperation, both in the academic and in the policy spheres. And as a result of this cooperation, our group, the Center for BRICS Studies of São Paulo, participated in a competition called BRICS Energy Outlook, where in 2019, GBRICS, which is the acronym for our group, won the award for the best research on investments in sustainable energy. And why it is important? Because this document, it contains some analysis related to energy issues in all the BRICS countries. And this material that was created, in fact, in that forum, was used as guidance for policy making for ministers and for people, politicians in our 5 member states. So it was a result of our cooperation. It was a result of youth driven oriented interaction. And it was also very important because it got us together in Moscow for the event, so we could know each other better and also could discuss the prospects for BRICS cooperation in the future. So this cooperation that we had with the BRICS Youth Energy Agency was manifested in the form of material policy guidance for ministers and for our state leaders in the form of the outlooks. So in 2019, we had one of our first outlooks together with BRICS. In 2020, we had another edition of the BRICS Youth Energy Outlook. And also in the 2020, we had a special report dedicated to unexpected events that were mostly related to the COVID-19 pandemic, but also with other unexpected factors that affected, in some sense, the energy industries of our BRICS member states. Another very interesting product of cooperation between youth and also more specifically between youth in academy are the books that were released by our group. So they had participation of international specialists, some from China and some from Russia. In fact, the majority of the international participation in those books were from specialists in Russia. So up until this point, we had 2 books published. The first one was called International Legal Aspects of BRICS, and the second one launched in 2021. The most recent book that was published by our group was Challenges and Development Prospects within BRICS. In both those works, there were all of the chapters were written in English. We had international participation so that we could bring more representativeness to this academic undertaking. So this is a matter of examples. This is some of the chapters that belong to both books. So in the left side of the screen, we have the chapters that were present in the first book that we released, and in the right side of the screen, we had the chapters that were published also by international specialists. Together with some of these chapters were produced together with Brazilian specialists in the second book that we released in 2021. All of them were dedicated to very interesting, very specific topics related to BRICS development. So another interesting aspect, another interesting product of cooperation between youth, also within academy, is the BRICS journey. The BRICS journey happens every year on the months, usually on the months of October, or around October and November. It is an event that is open to the public. So it is not only for academics, it is also for everyone interested in BRICS. And we usually, in our group, in the Center for BRICS Studies of the University of São Paulo, we usually invite either diplomats or professors, consulate representatives, and also experts on BRICS from all different countries. Up until the last year and up until 2020, this event happened in presence in the city of São Paulo. But unfortunately, due to the constraints related to the COVID-19 crisis, we now moved to the online format. The last 2 BRICS journeys were held in this circumstance. And The topics that we discuss in those journeys, they are varied. They have a wide scope of issues and a wide scope of policies that range from South-South relations to environmental sustainability, global health, international relations theory, and so on and so on. And in our last journey, we were pleased also to have international participation from a number of countries. So we had panels dedicated, for instance, to very important things like women leadership in BRICS, research in BRICS, and also we had speeches by ambassadors in our event, consulate representatives. So we try to bring a bigger representativeness to this journey so that we can have all countries that are members of the BRICS Association represented and discussing the most important and most urgent issues that concern the development of BRICS. And now, just to close up my presentation, I would like to mention three important topics that we should focus our attention when it comes to evaluate the power of interaction. First of all, we have witnessed, unfortunately, a very big boost and a rise in Russophobia around the world. And I believe that the better way to avoid this Russophobia, the better way to combat this phenomena around the world, and especially in Western Europe, is through the contact, is through interaction with the Russian institutions, with the Russians themselves, so that we can cross this barrier that is being built between our peoples. And we also must build bridges between not only with the Russians, but also with all the other peoples from our BRICS association. So in this moment, we in the Center for BRICS Studies of São Paulo are creating a very big and interesting prospective interaction with Sabia, for instance, from South Africa. We hope to develop further ties with them in the near future. And also, the power of interaction is important because we can establish beneficial academic cooperation that can produce fruits not only within the universities themselves, not only to the academic discussion, but also to policy making and also to increase people-to-people contact between our countries, which is very important. So I leave here some of the contacts of the Center for BRICS Studies of the University of São Paulo, and also my personal info. In case you have any questions regarding my presentation, the topics that I mentioned, or even the activities of the Center for BRICS Studies, I will be available to answer those questions and be very happy to help you in any capacity. I would like also to finish my presentation thanking the project office from Ulyanovs from this invitation, and also hope to cooperate with you further as well.
I request all the speakers to send their presentation in the chat so that participants could go through them in future. Also, I would request all the speakers to share their contact details in the chat. Dear participants, now I would like to request you again, while making your posts on social media, use hashtag #InterYes. Also, if you are using Instagram, please tag @BRICSYouth73. It's BRICS Project Office. And now you have the opportunity to ask your questions to the speakers and receive the answers from them. Please write your questions in chat. Be active, ask your questions, you will get good responses and it will be beneficial for you. Few questions we already have, so we can start with denial from Russia. What do you think is right approach for good public diplomacy in African continent? Question is relevant to everyone, but maybe I could ask Rion to comment on this. Rion? Or maybe any other speaker?
blurry.
Could you repeat the question?
Did you get that?
No, we haven't heard you. Should I
Oh,
repeat the
sorry, I
question?
was just asking. Yes, if you could please repeat the question. My
Denial
internet
from
broke up a
Russia.
bit.
Okay, sure. Denial from Russia. What do you think is the right approach for good public diplomacy in African continent?
All right, thank you so much. Well, I think if denial from Russia means that what we've been referring to in terms of Russophobia, then I think the best way to engage, and I think our colleague from GBRIC said this as well, is to have honest and open discussions. The people of Africa are obviously very cautious of oversimplistic narratives. Given the colonial history that the continent has faced, we understand that there are complexities between the relationship between Africa and the West, as much as there is between Africa and the East. And the African continent always approaches issues with nuance. It tries to understand both sides. It tries to be, I mean, during the Cold War, most of the African countries were part of the non-aligned movement, and there's a reason for that. We try to understand each party's perspective from its own side. And so I think the best approach for public diplomacy is honest and open discussion. And platforms like these offer a unique opportunity for different narratives to come into play and for us to avoid any oversimplistic narratives that might lead to rash actions or any kind of decision that can't be reversed in terms of breaking down relationships that have taken decades to grow and to form.
Thank you. Thank you, Rion. We have some more questions in our Zoom chat. And the next question is to our Chinese colleague, Zhang He. Zhang He, can foreigners who live in Russia participate in your forum? Can foreigners who live in Russia participate in your forum?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, if it's possible, please share the applicant information in the Zoom chat, okay, or contact with the participant who asked this question. Okay, thank you, Zhang He. The next question.
Thank you. Another question for Rion. Where can we find all the application forms? I think you have mentioned many conferences which Sabia will be hosting. So question is relevant to the application forms.
Yes, so all of the application forms will be shared on our social media pages and also with our partners. So I know that many of our BRICS nations don't all use the same social media. Some, for example, prefer Telegram, some prefer other platforms. So when we partner with a specific nation, we will share the information with that specific nation so they can also share it on their social media platforms. But I think the most common one, which is probably used most BRICS nations, is LinkedIn. And so I would encourage those colleagues who are able to access LinkedIn to keep an eye on our LinkedIn page. And there we will share all the information with regards to application forms, etc., for upcoming events.
Thank you, dear Rion. We have questions more. Please, Valdir, Brazil. The next question is to you. Can a person from India go through your program to France to learn French?
In the case of the Center for BRICS Studies of the University of São Paulo, not specifically, I would say not through our Center for BRICS Studies, unfortunately. However, in terms of contacting other people within BRICS, we can make a bridge between institutions so that we can try to find this possibility. But unfortunately, not through our group specifically.
Thank you, Valdir. And the next question is targeted to all the speakers, and maybe Akil can answer it. What other ways can we explore to develop sustainable youth cooperation among BRICS countries?
I think for sustainable cooperation within BRICS, first of all, we should focus on interaction within the partners, within the people from BRICS countries, and it could lead to having a real understanding, and we could start joint projects and programs which would be leading us to really achieve our goals.
Thank you for your opinion, Akhil. If another speakers have their opinion, please give us the signal, and we will give you the floor. And the next question is to Rion. Rion, are we able to participate as a group, given we are all over Brazil?
So I assume that this question is about the South Africa BRICS, the South Africa Brazil Youth Forum. And because the forum will be held online, as most of our events currently are, I think anybody from all across Brazil would be able to participate. If you have access to internet connectivity, you're welcome. There's obviously for most of our events, as with this one, some kind of selection process. And that is usually done with our partner. For the South Africa Brazil Youth Forum, our main partner is actually GBRICS, as was mentioned earlier. And in terms of, I also read something about translations to Portuguese. That is obviously something that's challenging, but very important. And that's something that we continue to speak to our partners about to ensure that we're able to do that. For online format, that is always a bit difficult if you want to do breakaway rooms and those kind of things. But as far as possible, if our partners are able to accommodate us then and give us the language translation ability, we would love to do that because it's very important for us to be able to understand each other.
Thank you, dear Rion. We have the next question. How can we put forward our project's idea and explore the various avenues of the forum? Who of experts is ready to answer this question? Dear speakers, maybe Akhil?
I think
maybe you should, dear participant, to clarify your question.
I think what I understood from the question, maybe it is relevant to how the idea or project could be implemented during InterYes forum. Is it like that? If it is related to current participation of your current participation and you want to explore your idea and project, I would suggest you to discuss within your team. I assume you will be having workshops. During workshop, you can discuss your project among your team members and then take guidance from your experts and trainers. Then you will be able to understand how relevant is your project and whether it should be implemented immediately or how it could be more diverse, how it could be benefited for other young people. I would suggest that whatever projects you are making right now should follow a kind of chain. You should develop such projects which you can realize on your own. Don't think bit smaller, which is in your capability. If you are capable of doing or organizing this project, then it would be more effective. And from your next project, when you will be organizing and realizing your own project, it will help you to get experience. You will also be providing opportunity or creating more projects during your project, and it will be a chain, and this chain will ultimately help everyone, and it will increase cooperation within BRICS.
Thank you. Thank you, Akhil. And you know, dear participants, we don't have any questions in our Zoom chat. So let me say that the first day of our forum is over. Thanks to the experts and participants for the important and useful work. We hope that each of you has gained new knowledge that will help you in the future.
The next step is joint work of the participants. Tomorrow, workshop of projects on public diplomacy will start. The workshop will be held from 12th to 15th of April and will end with a project fair. I wish all the participants fruitful work. Let the projects that will be born as a result of the forum be implemented and benefit our countries. See you tomorrow. We will start 10 a.m. Moscow time.
Attention, dear participants, important note. Only selected participants will start working in the project workshop tomorrow. They were sent an info pack and link to participate, and I know that you are, all the selected participants are in the WhatsApp chat now, in the moment. Thank you very much. We wish you fruitful work during the workshop.
Goodbye.